Kostas, could you tell us what is your vision of digital technologies transition in the coming years?
As you probably know from my speech this morning, the Commission published the Digital Agenda for Europe last year. This is the policy document by which we go. In there it says how important ICT is. It is a 660 billion market in Europe right now. It's 5% of the European economy, and it counts for 50% of productivity growth in the EU. This is not an accident. This is because of the dynamism inherent in the sector. And the dynamism arises because ICT changes pretty much everything we do. Changes businesses, changes transport, changes health, changes all of the systems we use. It changes also our societies, and it changes science, and this is what e-infrastructures and the science is about. So I expect digital technologies to continue innovating, not only through new technologies, but by changing the way things are being done in other areas, including the area of research and science. If you take, however, the technologies themselves, also there we'll see some continuous improvement or change in the coming years. First of all, in the area of telecommunications, with more bandwidth and more flexible networks, in the areas of more than more, as it's being called now, was packing more functionalities within the single chip and single package. In the areas of lower energy in particular, or in the area that's very topical nowadays of harnessing the power of many core computing and multi-core computing, so parallel programming, in order to be able to get all functions out, all functionality and performance out of powerful new computers.
And what do you expect will be the impact of distributed computing technologies on this transition?
Well, nothing is possible without computing. So computing will be everywhere, and it will continue to be everywhere. The two trends I see, one first is cloud, everybody talks about it, is about basically the capability to have flexible access to computing resources without necessarily owning these resources. And secondly, it is in the area of modeling and simulation and prototyping services. So we see that the power of simulation that computing provides, grid computing and high-performance computing, will be spread out not only to some leading academic sectors as it is today, but to more and more sectors of the economy, and in particular to small and medium-sized enterprises. So EMI is the key provider of middleware for the EGI, which is the largest multi-science infrastructure of its kind in the world. So this is a particularly significant contribution. EMI should help advance, therefore, to this vision that I explained this morning, where e-infrastructures are helping every researcher to become digital, in other words, to be digitally enabled, empowered in the research they do, by ensuring that the largest possible client base uses e-infrastructures, and in this case, grid technology and distributed computing technologies in particular. Then a third way that EMI contributes is through training, because it helps train all these human resources, these students, these postdocs that Europe needs for computing. A key question is, for the future, is how can we accelerate, how we can streamline and stimulate innovation coming out of the EMI, so that the added value of EMI is maximized not only for the grid sector as such, but from a broadest possible range of technologies used by societies at large.